So Jamaica Energy Partners is a independent power producer, and we actually supply power to JPS that they distribute. But more about Evergo. Evergo is the largest electric vehicle charging infrastructure within the island. So if you see, big signs, you can't really see my shirt, but big signs saying Evergo, is where people come and they are able to connect and charge their electric vehicles. We have over 70 public electric vehicle chargers within the island installed all over. You'll see some in Kingston, all the way down to the Grill. We're just very, very excited to be here and just promote Evergo and get more ladies involved in the e-mobility space.
I'm sorry, but JPS is where we're the electric utility that supplies power to Jamaica. And we both generate electricity ourselves and we purchase electricity as well from independent power producers such as JEP and also a number of renewable energy facilities. So we have a lot of solar and a lot of wind, and also internally we have our own hydro that we purchase as well. So that's JPS.
Right. Some of you didn't know that JPS wasn't the only energy producer. Did you know that? You knew? Okay, wonderful.
Charge and Go is the brand that the JPS team works through to actually have charging stations set up across the island to support e-mobility. So like Evergo, there are charging stations everywhere for persons to come and use their electric vehicles to charge. So within the Charge and Go network, we have an infrastructure throughout the island that supports customers island-wide to charge their vehicles ongoing. Presently, we have about 32 charging stations across the island. That's JPS Charge and Go.
What inspired you to get involved in the engineering field?
Well, believe it or not, my plan wasn't always engineering. Originally, when I came to Jamaica, I came to the plan to study medicine. So my very first year, I did what they have, like a preliminary year, where you do like biology, chemistry, physics. So I took up doing all three sciences the first year that I came. Very quickly, I realized, okay, if biology is anything like medicine, this is not for me. This is not for me. And I was kind of at a crossroads as to, okay, what do I do now? And I really started to enjoy the physics classes that I was taking. And then I decided to go to a meet and greet that the physics department was having. And in that, a lecturer kind of pulled me aside and was kind of telling me, okay, well, I know you have these plans in medicine, but here are the options that you have within physics. And I had always had a love for the environment. And when I saw, okay, wait, I can actually work within the environmental sector with a physics degree, I was like, okay, yes, this is kind of what I'm going to do. And I just went full speed ahead. So first semester, I switched degrees completely. And I then graduated just last year with a bachelor's in energy and environmental physics with a minor in renewable energy management. So after graduating, I decided to go straight into my master's, and I'm now pursuing engineering and management with engineering and management with a focus in electrical power engineering. And throughout my time pursuing my master's, I've been able to work at Evergo and with the JP team as product development analyst specializing in technical services within Evergo. So that looks like charger maintenance and site visits and, scoping out different locations, so where you want to install the chargers, stuff like that is what I work with. So yeah, that's my journey.
That's a very interesting journey.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kayon, tell us about your journey. What inspired you to get involved in engineering?
It's interesting because I was listening to her and there's a lot of synchronicities. So I also have a background in biology. I did biology up to, well, you guys are young, but it was A-levels back in my time, right? So I did biology up to A-levels, and I was, for the first semester of undergrad, a biology major. And I could do biology, but it wasn't like firing me off, I was like, I can do it, but I don't really want to. The only thing I was thinking, maybe I was interested in neuroscience, but then, to be a neurosurgeon, my hand them shaky, I don't think that's a good idea. So that was out, right? But ultimately, my primary thing was that I wanted to do my degree in something that I could use to help Jamaica to develop. And so that was quite a learning process, because when I switched my major, I switched it from biology to undeclared, as in, I don't know, with the hope that the undeclared people would help me to figure it out. during that process, I started thinking, well, maybe, and praying almost a lot, and it came to me like, I should probably just do something I enjoy, and I figured that would be something that could take me back to Jamaica, because I went to school abroad, and also helped me to contribute positively to Jamaica. And the engineering students look like they're having the most fun. They were coming back, they were building clocks, they were building all that kind of things. I was like, all right, let me just check out, let me see what's going on over in that department over way. And so that is how I ended up with engineering. I actually wanted to do mechanical. The university I was at didn't have mechanical, so I thought electrical was probably the closest thing. And so I stayed on continued that path. I will say, interesting enough, again, a synchronicity, because at one point I did get a little disenchanted with the whole electrical engineering journey. It didn't feel like I was struggling to figure out where the purpose was. And I saw one day a flyer for a student had posted, and she was another electrical engineering student. She actually graduated to the top of her class when she graduated. And she was looking for other students who wanted to start an organization called Engineers for a Sustainable World. And, I met up with her, we started the organization, and it was all about sustainable development internationally. And that was where I saw, okay, I can see where the purpose for engineering, and specifically I could say where electrical engineering could come in. And that's actually why I stayed in electrical engineering. And has shaped a lot in terms of the career path, how I've navigated along the way. So that's kind of my journey.
Were there role models or mentors along the way that helped you in your decision to pursue engineering? What about you, Leah?
I think, yes, me, especially the teacher who kind of pulled me aside. She was Dr. Tanisha Stevenson. I'm not sure she's still at UWI, but she was so passionate about physics, and it kind of just changed my mindset completely. When I was doing physics in CSEC and CAPE, I absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated physics. And I could not imagine that I would end up being a physics major at the end of it. So she kind of was able to open up my mind and show me the options that I can do and what I can do with a physics degree. Another lecturer I had was Dr. Randy Koon. He's not there at UWI anymore, but I did a number of courses with him, and he just kind of was able to see the potential that I had, and thanks to him, I'm now co-author to a published paper. So it's just been, so yeah, I guess, it's kind of really good to connect with your teachers and connect with your lecturers at the university, because they can, kind of guide you and help you along the journey of trying to figure out where you want to go specifically.
And any other mentors? Because you did mention one a while ago.
Yeah, it's interesting because mentors can come in all forms. So Abake Denle was a student, so we were both students. She was a year ahead of me, but I learned a lot just from observing her. It's amazing how much I learned just from observing her. And in terms of, I think my primary mentor in the electrical engineering or just engineering space in general was Dr. Richard Dean. So I went to Morgan State University, which is a university in the US. And Dr. Dean, he was, I don't remember how I ended up with him, but he was one of those professors who just took a very deep interest in his students, not just as a number, but as a person. And he still keeps in contact with I went to Baltimore this year, and I said, I must see Dr. Dean.
Wow.
And so my concentration was actually RF engineering, radio frequency, so cellular and wireless communications. And that's actually as well, I worked with Dr. Dean, my master's program, and that was my focus as well. But he always allowed he was always interested in sustainable development. For my senior project, it was, yes, communications tools, but for developing countries. And so that really helped to continue to concretize my focus on engineering as a sustainability tool, and also seeing how I could come back to Jamaica and come into this space. And I will say as well that you're right in terms of you don't necessarily need to have it all sorted out right now. I'm working at JPS as a power system engineer. My background is cellular and wireless communications. And it's amazing how you can just learn different skills and it can transition you to different places. So if you're not sure, don't worry about it. Just know your why, and that will help to navigate to where it is that you're supposed to go to.
What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a young woman in the engineering sector? Anybody can take that first.
I love when they just look at me.
I guess there are two main things. For me, thus far, kind of being overlooked. Sometimes when I enter the room, I am most oftentimes the youngest female there, and sometimes the only female there. Currently, in my master's, I'm the only girl in my entire class. So, so, you know, when I entered, most people kind of think, wait, is she here for engineering? Or, you know, kind of what is she doing here type of thing? And sometimes they kind of look past me or look over me. So that's kind of the biggest challenge. And then the second one is just self-doubt. Throughout my journey, a lot of the time I kind of second guess myself and second guess what I'm doing and kind of second guess the space I'm in and am I able to contribute in a meaningful way. So I've been kind of battling those two aspects, and thus far, kind of have to just ground yourself and center yourself and, you know, back yourself up. I mean, you can do it. You have to keep in mind frame that, you know, you are capable of doing this and contributing meaningfully. And that's kind of what's been keeping me going thus far in my journey, I would say.
Yeah, I think that second point is so important. There are always going to be challenges as you go out into the world. There are challenges just being a woman. If you're a man, there are challenges that are specific to just being a man. But some of the primary challenges are the ones that you're going to have to fight within yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, that self-doubt can be a big thing, especially if you're going to a space or a room where people expect you to not know, right? If you are feeding off that energy as well, when you know that you know, then there's an issue. So it's so important. The biggest challenge I would definitely say is overcoming that self-doubt. And you're never going to, I don't think you're ever going to really, if you're somebody who struggles with it, I don't know if you're necessarily going to always overcome it, but courage is not a matter of not having any fear. It's a matter of, okay, I have a fear and I'm going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. That's just
Wonderful.
it.
So now let's talk about the opportunities for young women in e-mobility. What do you think are the opportunities?
Okay, I'll go. I think there's so many opportunities. Just speaking from Evergo, Evergo started 3 years ago with just one charger. And now we have 70 installed island-wide. And during that time, in those 3 years, the number of women on the team have doubled. And I think within the e-mobility space, people just think, I'm not sure what people think. You guys can tell me more about what you think e-mobility is about. But there's so many different sectors within that space that you can take up. I myself am in technical service. We have Melissa, Lauren, who's in marketing. We have Carrie, who's in customer care. Kadina, who's in project coordination. So there's so many different aspects and avenues that you can take and partake in based on your individual interests. And then we're talking about just the industry on a whole when it comes to electric vehicles. I think 4 years ago, there were about 26 on the island, and now there's over 200. So as we see more electrical vehicles coming in to Jamaica, there's also another opportunity to get into the electrical vehicle maintenance and servicing. So there's definitely opportunities for growth, definitely things you can get into just based on what you like and what you want to try at and, you know, stuff like that. So definitely space for growth and definitely space to join and, you know, push e-mobility for Jamaica.
Mm-hmm. And I'll let the business development team talk about that. But I think in general, we definitely want you to think about e-mobility for Jamaica, but also when you think about it globally. I know some people are in here in electrical engineering mindset. I think people to also think about mechanical engineering, like, you know, designing and building these vehicles. You know, there's also the AI space, and AI is getting a lot more integrated into everything, including electric vehicles. You have self-driving cars. I want you to think really globally and internationally and not just locally, and think about all the different aspects that you can think of.